Thank you. I must say it's an honor to be here in front of you and to discuss about resilience and examples that Romania, but also local communities as the one I'm a mayor in, Brasov, offer to Europe and worldwide. And if we discuss about resilience, we can't separate the term without addressing the three crises that struck us in the last 3 years. It's a very tight period of time with so many crises. I'm talking about the pandemic, I'm talking about the war, I'm talking about the energy crisis. And I will briefly go through all of these because in each of the crises there is an opportunity and there are lessons to be learned. And I'll talk in brief about those lessons and about the way we treat them and we tackle them at local level. So if we go by the timeline, the pandemic showed us that Europe has to learn to rely on ourselves. So us Europeans, we have to rethink our strategy, we have to rethink our economy in such a way that we have the key components and the strategic industries developed on our homeland, on secure land, on democratic land. And that was the main lesson, and I will talk later about how we implemented it at local level. Then the war came, and this showed that one of the taglines for Europe, which would be unity in diversity, is so important in terms of not only defending our borders, but also defending our values, our key values and our democracy. This is the point where we stood up against the aggression and we used solidarity and collaboration in order to protect our borders, but to protect also our neighbors and to help on the building the democracy on our homeland on the long run. Also, when we talk about energy, there were lots of discussions and lots of voices that we should postpone our ambitions and the transition to green, that we should pace down this transition. But actually, I think this crisis shows us that it's the opposite is the way forward, to enhance on our ambitions and to speed up the transitioning process. Now, about these three crises, these three pillars of the discussion, I will discuss a bit and I'll present it how we've done at local level. And I will use the reverse order of the 3 points. First, I will discuss about the energy and the energy crisis. So for us, it was a very important point because we are one of the SDG 25+5 pioneering cities, SDG meaning Sustainable Development Goals. We use sustainability and the SDG goals, the 17 SDG goals, as the key for our development strategy. So when the energy crisis came, we rethought our priorities. So we are now developing a huge solar park, which would be about 20 megawatts, to produce our own energy, to become energy independent. That solar park would cover about 90% of our energy needs for public sources, and it's also joined by other projects that are turning public buildings into prosumers, and also on the residential part, using RRF money in order to make the buildings, the residential buildings, more energy efficient. So this is the way I think we can show resilience at local level and best use RRF funds in order to cut down not only the costs but also to transition to green energy and to a sustainable future. For the war itself put a challenge on Europe in terms of curing the past. That diversity I was talking about, sometimes at different local communities can mean problems that are unsolved in the past, but we have to cure our past in order to build a better future. And the way I'm very proud on the way the Brasov community has answered to the challenge of the war, because we are not in a bordering region of Romania and Ukraine. We're in the center of Romania. Usually, refugees in the first days of war came to Brasov just as a stop by in their path in their journey to the Western Europe, but still, we took great pride and we answered with offering them accommodation, offering a refugee center, and then offering them integration. Because it's not only accommodation, it's not only housing that we should offer solutions for kids in order to integrate them in the education system. We should offer them jobs in order to integrate them, integrate the adults in our communities. And I'm very proud, as I said, about Brasov and the way we tackled that. We have have around 4,000, more than 4,000 refugees in our city. And we are the only one refugee center that received the UNICEF Blue Dot certification, the only center that is not in the border region. And I think this local answer to a global crisis actually shows more about our values, about what Europe is, than the political and the diplomatic level. Because it counts more when you have a senior giving away 25% of its pension, of their pension, in order to help buy an ambulance for Ukraine, donating money for the neighboring countries, for our neighbors. That's a very powerful signal, and you can see it all over Romania and all over Brasov, and I'm very proud of that. And last but not least is the pandemic and our new approach about developing the industry and developing the economics. Brasov being a traditional industrial city, now we took a very we took a front runner role in offering companies reasons to move to Brasov and to open new amenities, new facilities. We bought an industrial platform, 50 hectares of land, in order to secure a strategic place connected to railways and all the infrastructure, so that we can attract strategic investments. And for us, strategic means aligned with our values and with our core goals. That means sustainability, that means green energy, that means green mobility, all these important trends for Europe. We are now able to support and to offer something to investors. Then we invested a lot in the last years in education on all levels. Very important on dual education system, which is key for supporting and developing the industry, because we need qualified workforce, and Romania has qualified workforce and offering it at a very good pay rate. And not lastly, it's the pandemic meaning also a medical crisis. We focused on health, and now we're proud to be nominated by the United Nations Global Sustainability Index as the global health hub. That means $1 billion being available for investments in Brasov, in prevention, in research, in these areas pertaining health and medicine. So at local level, I think our ambition is to become champions of this transition. And I think the transition, the success of this transition depends a lot on how local communities would provide examples. And I think Brasov is a front runner, especially in Romania, but also at European level, in terms of transitioning to green. And our goal is to become the green capital of Romania, and also to be one of the magnet cities that attracts workers and inhabitants from all over the world to move to Brasov. We are proud of that, and we're here to discuss about our example. Thank you for the opportunity.